What's good, y'all, and welcome to what might just be the best banner ever released. And that is the banner on this Thursday. Now, before we go into this banner, keep something in mind, and that is the anniversary is at maximum within the next 4 weeks. If I had to pinpoint a date, I would say it's early July. If I had to pick a date, I would say it's early July, so keep that in mind for this banner. If you don't have any resources, as tasty as this banner is, the anniversary will probably still be better. But without further ado, what is this banner? So, do you remember the Lyra banner where you had the option to pick a legendary hero? We were, oh, it's quite nice, but Lyra, she's decent. This banner, in addition to the event's fixed featured hero, which is Nerissa, we'll go over more of that later, you can select another legendary hero excluding lords from the Invocation of Spirits pool for a 20x drop rate, which means this is the first time ever that we have a 2 raid up banner, so 2 units that are raid up, and both of them are going to be absolutely incredible. And that means you're looking at a 1 in 3 chance of pulling a really good hero for your account. So it's either Nerissa, who's absolutely incredible, or whoever you're picking. So the way this is going to work, you have around an 18% chance for Nerissa and then around an 18% chance for your other boosted hero. That is the banner. So the plan for today is go through all the possible additions. The way we'll do this is kind of like a tier list where we try to rank how important these heroes are. And then in the comments, you can let me know if you think I did something wrong, if I maybe forgot someone. And then for the Should You Summon video, we'll have the revised tier list, the updated one. And then, yeah, but for now, let's talk about Nerissa first, so you all know what's going on with her. And then we'll also rank her at the end in comparison to everybody else. So specifically, Nerissa is Mercy 2.0. So Nerissa has the ability to provide permanent 20% inspiration. Yes, it doesn't stack with others. So for example, a Diao Chan and her clash for the same inspiration spot. Keep in mind though, what you're going to have to think about is that she has 4600 basic attack. So no matter what, if you run a Nerissa and a Diao in the same team, one of your units is always going to have the strongest attack boost on the field through Nerissa rather than the same attack boost everybody else gets through Diao. This attack boost is permanent and also brings the ability to recover 5% HP when taking damage, and that is within 2 seconds. So pretty much every 2 seconds you are going to be able to regenerate 5% HP. This also stacks up the HP regen by 10% to up to 10% regeneration the more damage she takes, and it also helps with her kit. Overall, the most important skill right here is this one, Siren Song, where you get a 20% AoE damage reduction, which at A0 is 5% lower than what a Mercy gives. Why A0? Because the A1 increases it to 30%. So that straight up, so you're looking at a 20 or 30% AoE damage reduction, and then also you have the ability to spread this AoE damage reduction to in range of the Abyssal Favor affected unit. Going to be very crucial for something very simple, and that is she revolutionizes the ability to place units in Abyss 1. So for that, let's quickly swap to the test server and let me show you an example. So here we are for Abyss 1. You can see on the test server, here we have this utterly nonsensical formation. If Nerissa was Mercy, this would be garbage, because we all know the optimal formation is 4 ground units and then 6 platform units. One of those ground units has to be a tank, so that means you are left with the ability to place down 3 fighters. That's the way it has been, that's the way it always has been, and that's not the way it will be anymore, and that's because of the introduction of Nerissa and the ability to use Abyssal Favor to place the tank in a different way. So this gives us this current team where instead of the usual split of us having 4 ground units and 6 platform units, all of a sudden we have 4 platform units and 6 ground units, with one of them being a tank. Then we have a Constance right here, could also be someone else, but we have Constance to showcase the ground placing ability, and then a total of 4 fighters. So all of a sudden we have 1 more fighter in there, as well as another ground unit in Constance. So let me show you how this whole thing plays out, because this is something just unique to her as a hero. Overall, nothing crazy changes. You still have You still have your invulnerable unit in this case, or in most cases, it's going to be Kigiri in the same place as always. But then you can place all of a sudden Torador up here. Now, Torador up there only works because of the fact that Nerissa's healing does reach. Nerissa's healing does reach because of the Abyssal Favor she grants to Kigiri, because Kigiri is your highest attack unit on the field, and that's what you need to make sure. So Kigiri has the highest attack, which means Kigiri gets the Abyssal Favor, which means Kigiri also applies the AoE damage reduction to units around him, which does include Torador. Next up, we can then place down Aelin, and then after that, you can see us just pretty much, oh, we actually misplaced Constance right there, but it is more about the amount of ground units rather than us placing it perfectly. So this is how this formation would look. To an extent, yes, depending on how you shift it, but like this, it does require an A3 Aelin, so you can get the increased range, so it can reach all the way up to this tile right here. But you can see we have Wukong down, we have Kigiri down, we have Constance down, we have Numera down, we have all these units down, and this is just a formation that currently just isn't possible. And yeah, that is one of the big benefits, but at the end of the day, that isn't even all of it. And most of that has to do with the rest of Nerissa's kit, which is going to be in her ultimate. So her ultimate allows her to consume these orbs above her. And these orbs are the atrophy stacks, and she generates a resource called Black Pearls. We go more in depth at a certain point of time, but for now what you need to know is she gets Black Pearls and those turn into atrophy, and a atrophy stack is then those on top. When this buff fills up, that signifies she has 4 atrophy, then the next one is going to light up signifying 5, 6, 7, 8, another vision indicator, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then basically the orbs just change color, they look visually a bit different. I'll show you all of that in depth in a more dedicated look at her, but that's what you need to know. And then she uses this atrophy to not only increase her base stats through her last passive, yeah, makes sense, but also she can then fire off basic attacks. So she can basic attack against the magic shield in Abyss 1, for example, or against anything that is damageable by magic. So what you can see right here is you do now 15% magic damage 30 times per basic attack. So 450% magic damage per basic attack with 60% increased damage to shields. This only is for her, and she does that for 12 seconds. So let's say she has an attack interval of 1.2, she will be attacking 10 times during her 12-second window. Overall, a 4,500% magic damage, depending on how you have her build. Obviously, if you have her in, for example, something like Sorbonne Arcana and Infernal Roar, she's going to do more shield damage. If you have her more in a support build or in a healer build, then she's going to obviously do less damage. Now, I guess we can continue here when it comes to the rest of the kit. So right here we have Dark Onslaught, where you obviously have the atrophy. You can see atrophy stacks up, right? Atrophy can then cannot exceed 4 here. When exceeding 4 points, each point of atrophy increases the ultimate duration, so you could also then make the ultimate longer. Overall, you also still have the increased healing effect received buff, so the same as Fercy, and then you can also see the stat increase, right? And you also do have the healing whenever someone gets reduced. Just what you need to know is she's like Fercy, but with permanent inspiration, more range, better healing, better uptime, magic damage. She's just nasty at the end of the day. Even more nasty than Nastia herself. Awakening wise, you also now have the ability to expand Abyssal Favor's range to 2 tiles, so it would reach even further. Also supremely helpful if you're still not convinced. Let's just randomly pick any of these runes right here. They're gonna come to the game at some point, probably within like the next 2 weeks. Now, have a look at Nerissa, and then you can see right here, for example, if she reaches over here and you have a fighter placed right here, this fighter would also spread the AoE damage reduction to all these other units, or you could be using her bigger range in the middle to heal both lanes. It's just, she's gonna be very helpful right there. And yeah, honestly, with the way devs are currently developing content, it always seems like it's going to be more AoE damage and more survivability, just so we can't just damage stomp everything. So that's kind of what we're stuck with at the moment. And then other awakenings, the A2 is pretty insignificant. It depends on how you look at it. She's still an inspiration hero to an extent too. And then when allies are healed by the Siren Song, they gain a shield. So what this means is that, crazily enough, every 5 seconds, she's going to be providing a 40% max HP shield. This A3 is utterly ridiculous, and it might even be one of those normal units that could be worth a soulstone depending on how difficult Abyss 2 is, if that shit ever arrives, who knows, and depending on content moving forward. But her A3 every 5 seconds, a 45% max HP shield for 5 seconds. I mean, obviously it does have a downtime of 15 seconds, but it is still a very good awakening. And then with the A5, you have 4 points of atrophy, increases the hero's healing multiplier. This effect lasts until the ultimate ends. So these are again these orbs she stacks above her. Additionally, now Siren Song now applies Abyssal Favor to an additional unit, which means you can have 2 units gain the permanent 20% inspiration. Again, she has 4,600 base attack, which is around twice of what a Diao has. I mean, we can once again for reference take a look at it, 2,500. So it's a bit less than twice at 5% less a modifier. So 20% inspiration versus 25%, but she also still does provide it permanent. Then again, the most important part on top of all of this, yes, we've been talking about it for quite a while, is she heals a lot. A lot, all right? So, for example, take the Healer Codex, the Codex with Mr. Sand Golem. Let's see if that guy is active at the moment. No, he is not, but I can show you a score, because I think my guy did test it. No, I can't show you the score. Come on, can we see your run? No? Alright, what you need to know is she can rival and also out-heal Aelin, the very best AoE healer as of this moment. So she pretty much does it all. Again, let's rattle it down. You have AoE damage reduction, you have magic damage against shields, you have the self-stat boost, you have the increased healing effect received, you have the permanent inspiration. Is there anything else crazy we've missed? Obviously, probably, yeah. But that is her for you, all right? And she's just one of the units on the banner, so let's move on to part 2 of this video. Right now for this last part, this is pretty much going to be freestyle, and we're going to be trying to rank these 19 units with Nerissa at the end, depending on how crucial they are to own for your account. All of these units, those are pretty much the most impactful legendaries that came to mind, because you cannot include lords and you cannot include limited units. So those are the most impactful non-limited units that came to my mind. And now let's try to, I guess, rank them by how important it is to have them on your account, to also give you an idea of the power level. And then technically you could go one by one and see, all right, I don't have, I have this unit, this unit, this unit, this unit, this unit. I don't have this unit, so I should put this unit on the banner. The plan here, we have 6 tiers, we have 18 units plus Nerissa making it 19, which means we're going to be trying to put 3 into each, while then also ranking it from left to right. So this is going to be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, so on so forth. It is going to be somewhat off the top of my head, so that's why I need you to help me in the comments if you think anything here is like particularly wrong or atrocious or just complete garbage. So let's start with the most important unit in the entire game. I would still give that to Elowin, so let's just put her at number 1. Who do we think is going to be number 2 though? Beelzebub obviously not, right? Okay, out of all of these, who would we think are one of the least important? I think we can put Sadie down here. Sadie's main use is going to be you finding success in high tier gear rate 2. Then again, you could also just succeed in gear rate 1 or gear rate 3, because you're going to get the runes for Merrick's Hall of Illusion either way. So I guess we're putting her down in least important for now. Aelin is probably going to go somewhere in the middle here. Let's put Fercy in there for now too. Allura, let's put Allura down to Sadie. So the reason why Allura even is there is because of Gear Rate 3. Higher tier Gear Rate 3, so stages 22, 23, 24, are pretty much just going to be more difficult, but are going to give you better loot in return and also provide you these Merrick's Hall of Illusion runes to then get your resources to make your characters better. If you want to know more about this, I have a whole video on the channel explaining everything about the Hall of Illusions and what is to come in the future. But for now, I think we want to put Edith in here. So let's put her a tier above. So the reason why I consider putting her the tier above is there's only one piece of content where Edith is really useful, and that is making your life easier in Gear Dungeon 210 or Gear Dungeon 2.8, 2.7, 2.10. It depends. You can use units like, for example, Bruno instead, and not Bruno, but oh, God damn it. What's his name? You know the dwarf. We all know the dwarf. Yes, I'm cheating. Yes, I'm looking into the hero gallery right now. It is Borrowed. It's not Bruno, it's Borrowed. It was close. It was with the B. But yeah, you could use Borrowed instead. So it's more of a quality of life, her being there. But still, Gear Rate 2 is so important that having the ability to clear it or easier clear it, it does unlock the ability to obviously farm your 100 keys on the highest stage, get the best rewards, get the amount of coins, use those in the shop, get the best resources, rinse and repeat. Okay, how about the others? Yuri, let's put her in the middle here too. So the reason why Yuri would be so valued on your account is single-handedly anti-air arena. Yes, outside of anti-air arena, she also has now found some more. Let's put her in the second tier for now. So she has found a lot of use in, for example, higher tier, again, Gear Rate 3, 22, 23, 24. But most importantly, anti-air arena. If you don't have her, you really can't compete because of the fact that her range is just a alien range, but in front of her. And also anything that's outside of that range, as long as it's close enough to her last kill target, her ultimate just jumps over. So you're always going to lose a range battle, and in arena, range is king, because the earlier you kill your units, the sooner your enemy succumbs to damage from Sorkadin's laser blast. Okay. Artemis. Let's also put him down here for now. He would be super popular for Gear Rate 1, 22, 23, 24, because those stages are going to become increasingly more important to be cleared, again, for these Hall of Illusion runes. And he is pretty much the only anti-healer plus heal combo, and he's also the best of the bunch out of the anti-healers. Though I guess an argument could be made for Demi. Yes, we're going to revisit reworked Demi either today or tomorrow, because she is probably good, actually. You'll see. So, okay, how do we rank Numera? I guess Numera also down here, because what she really brings to the table is just damage. It's not as important, it's just high damage. Is it really high damage? I guess you could argue yes, but at the end of the day, it's just damage, and there's ways you can get sad magic damage without her. Vaughn, we're gonna just for now put him higher here because of the fact that he also, yes, he does magic damage, yes, it's just damage, but he also provides the shield break debuff, making it easier for your units to break shields. And now also with the A1 and the A3, he gets more fighters debuffs. Yes, there was a bit of outrage, yes, I can understand it. And do you now see why they gave him the ability to give more buffs to fighters? Yes, it was obviously mostly Numera, because Numera has lower base attack, so she wasn't getting the shield break buff. But all of a sudden, you know, getting Nerissa in there, having the ability to have more than just 3 fighters, I don't know. But yeah, Vaughn's buff got slightly better because you can now use over 3 fighters as long as you have a Nerissa. Vienna. Or Vienna Silas. Let's bring Vienna Silas. those are all kind of so close together. All of them are pretty much, oh, you really, really do want to own them. But I guess let's put Hatzit at the top. She's still the queen of PvE. She has incredible burst. She just annihilates everything. And specifically in the tower, you really feel her impact. And then again, with the higher gear rate 3 stages, it's also more important. Okay, Phineas. Let's just put Phineas in here. He's again just raw magic damage, but also damage down. So quite effective in Abyss. Beelzebub, let's put Beelzebub up here. Specifically for gear rate 1, he's incredibly important because of the ability to reduce damage taken for your cultist allies while also healing your cultist allies with every single basic attack, pretty much making him a inspiration plus healer, and also having this incredible range that in the Kriya Codex is the only one which reaches more than 1 tile of inspiration, which is kind of nasty by the devs, alright? It's kind of unfair that he's the only one who's allowed to reach more than 1 tile. Okay, Magda. Magda just raw magic damage, but there's so much raw magic damage. She is quite essential in having the ability to clear higher tier gear rate ones. Also, you do see her to an extent quite a lot in GVG, and then you also have AMR. So Magda's one of those heroes you really do want to have. The question is, how do we order all of them, right? Then you have Vierna. Vierna, just raw AoE damage plus the execute. Valkyra, then someone has to go, and let's put... do we put Hex up there? So the real question is now, how do we shuffle the rest of them? So Elowen would be number 2, Hatzit would be number Elowen would be number 1, Hatzit number 2, and then the rest going down here. It's a bit hard to say, but yeah, I think that's kind of what we have at the moment with then Yuri. Okay, Yuri number 4 is probably a bit much. Let's say we keep her at 6. First he moves up to 7. Aelin, because healing is getting more important, moves up here. Oof. Yeah, I'm somewhat happy with this. Again, if I missed anything, if I missed a unit specifically, let me know down in the comments below. But for now, this is what we're going to keep. So most important is going to be Elowen, then it's going to be Sadie at number 18. Now the question, where would Nerissa go? I would disgustingly, disturbingly so put her in number 2 because of the fact that she does way too much. She does way too much, and also if Nerissa is a thing, then Percy goes down into least important. All right. So if Nerissa exists, I would probably put her next to Elowen in importance when it comes to non-limiteds, non-lords, non-ancients. Okay, just so we don't have any confusions here. So this is, I think, where I would put her at the moment. And if you have an Nerissa, I don't really see a reason you're going to use Percy unless it's obviously faction trials or you just want the faction bonus. With Percy being boosted by Solkadins and Nerissa being boosted by Nastia. So I guess this is kind of how I would do it for the moment. And then obviously you would, I mean, let's make it complete, right? Yuri moves 1 down, Hex moves 1 down, and then this is what this would be. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to kinda give you an idea of why this banner is so important. And then let's, for the end, just do the quicker math. What the hell? Then for the end, let's do a bit of quick math to figure out what the rates are. So for this last part, let's quickly figure out the exact rates to pull the boosted or your picked units in this banner. So that is going to be a 20 weight. 20 weight is pretty much the way you can see Nerissa as, yeah, right. Nerissa has a weight of 1, she's worth 1, and now she's worth 20 because the rate is getting boosted 20x, plus then an additional 20 of whoever else you're boosting. So it's giving, not plus 2, so it's giving us 40. And then we have to divide that by the amount of legends in the game, which is going to be 66 at the time of Nerissa's banner releasing, with her being the 66th. And then we have to also add on top the 38. The 38 are all the extra copies that are getting put into the pool. So 19 copies of Nerissa, 19 copies of, let's say, Halloween. So 66 plus 38 is then going to give us 104. I hope. Yes, 104. So we can divide 40 by 104, giving you a 38.4% chance of pulling one of the rate ups units, which is pretty much a 4 in 10. Now you can divide that whole thing by 2, and it's going to tell you that you have a 19.2% chance of pulling a Nerissa, or a 19.2% chance of pulling whatever unit you have rated up. And that's the way this is going to work. So overall you have a 1 in 5 for Nerissa, 1 in 5 for whoever you rate up, and then a 3 in 5 for whoever you don't rate up, and then giving you a 4 in 10, a 40% chance of pulling something that you truly want and truly need. Though lastly, once again, keep in mind anniversary is at most 4 to 5 weeks out. I would say early July. Peace.